skipping. I'm gonna be doing a running gag for my newer videos. I'm gonna be showing off an album on vinyl that I really like. I mean, these can count as some of my favorite albums ever, or just albums I really like. Today's album, Talking Heads, Speaking in Tongues. If you love groovy beats, please listen to it. I highly recommend it. It's just a huge banger. Howdy folks, it is me, Super Puggy. Clearly something's different. You know, we're in a closet now. I know, I'm finally in a house. I'm finally making videos like the way I want to make them. And here we are, standing up in a closet with a new hairdo. I like my hair, it's different, but I like it. And you all better like it too, because I can't switch it back. Oh well. We have a wall now with my stuff again. And yeah, I don't even know if you all can even see the wall. Here, I'll like you all here. You can see it. Come on, guys. But we are back, and we're gonna make videos. We are back. We're gonna make videos. I know it's already gonna be a rough start, but let's just do it. If it's pretty obvious, I've been busy. And I've been making videos. I want to make Kobayashi video. No Kobayashi video. That's a big sad. But I'm here making a video about a band I really exponentially like. A band that I'm a huge fan of, and I wish more people would listen to. And a band that I'm extremely inspired by. Alright, we're gonna be talking about Headrest. Headrest is a band that I'm really fond of. It's a band that started with humble beginnings and now has a following that's cult-like, and I'm the head of that cult-like following. I love Headrest. But in order to talk about Headrest, let's talk about the stuff about it. Let's talk about Headrest in general. Let's talk about Will Toledo and his gay little face. And that's not offensive, because he does indeed, if you look at him, he has a gay little face. It's a face only a mother could love. And if you already expect it, I mean, this is gonna be like my Devo video, where, you know, like, I talk about the band, but I'm not really even talking about points I like. I mean, I'm gonna be talking about the reasons why I like the band, but it's more gonna be general instead. So, with that out of the way, let's boogie. So what is Headrest? So Headrest is a project created by Mr. Will Toledo, and honestly, the beginnings of Headrest is fascinating to me. I just love researching and learning about how the band became what it became today, because it is nothing like how it started. Headrest was started in 2010, it was a project by Will Toledo. It was created after Will Toledo created his first project, Nervous Young Human, and that fizzled out. But he made Headrest, and that's how he just kept shooting forward. He would keep releasing albums on Bandcamp until eventually he got signed by Matador Records, and by that time, that's when it became a real band with members Andrew Katz, Ethan Ives, and Seth, what's his name? Seth Everman? And Seth Dolby. Now we have a full band, and we've established this. But what makes Headrest so special compared to other bands? Like, at least with Devo, they have a significant influence on certain artists to come. But with Headrest, what do they have? Well, to me, the thing with Headrest is mainly to do with the songwriting, do with the vocals, do with the actual instrumentation itself. Or maybe it's to the fact of how interesting and intriguing it is to see that a lot of this music was just created by one guy at one point. And I'm a huge fan of that kind of music. It helps inspire me make my own kind of music, or make whatever. And I just am intrigued and fascinated by it. Oh my gosh, someone is turning. Who turned on lawnmower? Someone lawn mowing out there? Someone mowing the grass? Oh, okay. It's just the neighbors. Oh, fuck. Sorry, I'm in a new house now. It's a new situation. I'm not used to it. And of course, with these beginnings, we have to talk about the music from the start and now. Headrest's discography is a very interesting one. Unlike Devo, where you had very good consecutive albums back to back to back to back, with Headrest, it's a little different. Like, how it'll work is you'll either get a God tier album, like Twin Fantasy, Mirror to Mirror, but then you'll immediately get Monomania, which is just an average album. So remember before how I said he started making albums monthly? Well, this is literal. From May all the way to August of 2010, Will created 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of these are the actual album names, and they're numbered. And all of these were created by himself, in his parents' house. And fun fact, the vocals for these albums were actually just sang in his car. That's how he got the name Car Seat Headrest. And the reason why Will even did this is because he was shy. He was an introverted guy. He didn't want his parents hearing him sing in his bedroom because it was a close quarters house, so instead he wanted to sing in his car because it was just like a vocal booth for him. And I have mass respect for that. I understand. It's a little rough having your parents hear everything you do. And in my opinion on these albums, they're a little rough to listen to, and there's even some parts where I just can't stand listening to it, but I think overall, if you're intrigued by music that's a lot more distorted, a lot more edgy, DIY, and just rough, I think you'll appreciate these records, especially 3 and 4, which are really good. And I mean, come on, it's the start of a really good indie band. I mean, what more could you want? And after all these albums, we get the classic My Back Is Killing Me Baby. By this point, Will has created songs that are very easy and very catchy, and honestly is some of his best songwriting. Sorta. It's like some of the songs on here are some of the best Car Seat Headrest songs, but some of them are also extremely forgettable. You still have songs like The Drum or Something Soon, which are still really good tracks by themselves, but you also have those songs like Stoop Kid, or I don't even remember any of those songs on it. And I think overall as an album it's alright, but it definitely doesn't compare to the album that came after it, Twin Fantasy, Mirror to Mirror. Twin Fantasy, Mirror to Mirror is probably the most important work Will ever create. It's an album that is very special to not just him, not just me, but to millions upon millions of people who just love it. I love the album so much. It's very rough for me to listen to it, but honestly, there's nothing compared. Like, there's not many other songwriters out there that will compare to Will Toledo's songwriting on this album. The only one I could think of is Morrissey, and that is a long stretch. And I'm not going to go to the songwriting right now, but I just want to keep that as a little detail. Of course, this album is not perfect. That listening to it is extremely rough. He drowns his voice in reverb, the guitar playing is just sloppy, and it's just overall a very visceral listening experience. But I think overall it's a great album and a really just damn near perfect work of art that will be slowly perfected in time. And after we get Twin Fantasy Mirror to Mirror, we get Monomania, a very forgettable album in my opinion that's also extremely edgy. It's been quoted on saying that if Twin Fantasy was the relationship record, this would have been the breakup record. I mean, Monomania is a okay album. Like, it has one of my favorite songs on it, Mod Gone, but at the same time, I don't really want to go back and listen to it just because there's just so many better options to listen to. For any of you Car Seat Headrest stans who are like, oh, we're starving a living, I corrected myself later in the video, just wait, alright? You will talk about It's Only Sex. And after Monomania, you slowly start noticing that the music gets a lot more clean and a lot more polished as time goes on. I mean, it's obviously better than listening to one, but you can still tell it's rough. But whenever Nervous Young Man came out, which is, oh my gosh. Listening to Nervous Young Man is an experience in itself. It's like watching an entire ass movie. It is just so different. And this brings me to a transition to something I want to talk about before we go into the rest of the album. This brings me to a minor tangent about Will Toledo and how he remakes songs. I have not really heard of many other artists remake entire tracks, and honestly, I feel like Will just does it the best, even though there's not really anyone else to compare it to. I mean, the guy remakes songs that he's made before, but he makes them a lot better and a lot more higher quality, and I think him doing this is very good. It makes the songs pop out a little better, it makes them sound a lot more like you wanted them to sound like, unless you just wanted them very rough. And it also is just great listening to it in a different setting. And I actually do put these re-recordings in 3 different categories. I put them in the category of either A, re-recordings that are not as good as the original. So, like, personally me, I feel like that this is a category for not too many tracks, but it's still there. Probably the only person who will say this. I think the drum doesn't sound as good re-recorded as it does now. Same with Mod Gone. I feel like the original recordings are just a lot better and a lot more rough and helps convey the feelings a little more. But this isn't really a category that I think about too much. The second category is songs that are just as good. These are songs like Bodies, Beach Life and Death, Stop Smoking, Indo Starving, Something Soon as well. These are all songs that are in the category of they're just as good as the original, and yeah, it's a completely different experience listening to them. It's a really good one either way. You already figured out the last one. It's songs that are better than the original. Now, personally, I feel like the majority of re-recordings fall into this category purely because, I mean, whenever you re-record a song that's already good and you make it better, obviously it's just fucking... I feel songs like this would include like Big Jacket or Nervous Young and Humans, which, you know, I will say this about the original recording. Okay, there's one thing the original recording has over the re-release. It's the fact that Will Toledo does, you know, I'm I'm just very upset that Will Toledo doesn't talk about how he used the word galvanistic at the end of the song.
Earlier in this song, I used the term galvanistic. Galvanism is the concept, the absolute scientific theory that there was a kind of electricity flowing through our bloodstreams. And
listen, Will, you had one shot, you had one chance, but instead you decided to mess it up and whisper into my ear about if I know Jesus or not. I'm not making this up.
Do you know about Jesus? Do you really know?
You know how demented I feel whenever I walk into Walmart and I'm listening to Car Seat Headrest and I'm like listening to Nervous Singing Humans and I'm like, you should have seen my cursor back then. You know, like I'm listening to it and then out of nowhere I just hear Will Toledo whisper in my ear, so do you know about Jesus? It was just so random and just so different. I feel taken aback a little bit. Back on topic, I forgot to mention the EP, which did come out before. And back on topic, we're gonna be. I forgot to mention the Starving While Living EP. I mean, it came out and has one of the greatest Car Seat Headrest songs on it. It's Only Sex, and it also has the song "Oh Starving," which was remade from 3, which would then be remade again on Teens of Style. I know, a song recreated twice. What more good have you asked for? I don't really care for this EP. It's just okay, and it's definitely not as good as Nervous Young Man, like I just mentioned. And I will say this, okay? The album after Nervous Young Man is eons better. How to Leave Town is an amazing album, released in 2014, and oh my gosh, the lyrics. I haven't been America. Oh, I just haven't been America. America easily is probably top 5 favorite Car Seat Headrest songs. And I think it's purely just because of that beat that happens in the middle of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, it starts off with the acoustic intro and then that sick ass beat that starts playing, and then he goes, I said excuse me to the, and of course that my amazing chorus, America, oh, I just haven't been America. And there are amazing songs on the record, of course, not only just America, You're in Love with Me, Beast Monster Thing, and the fantastic 13-minute opening, the ending of Dramamine. Oh my god. And once we get past here, this is the part where Will gets signed to Matador, and then, cha-ching, we finally get an album with real band members. We get Andrew Katz, the guy who uploaded this video.
Fuck! Then get fucking hydrated! Hydrate! Hydrate! Fuck! Hydrated! Fuck!
Teens of Style is an amazing record in my opinion because it's a remake, the entire record is just a remake of multiple different Car Seat Headrest songs. It's pretty much like the beginning album. If you want to get started into Car Seat Headrest, that's the album you want to listen to. And honestly, if I'm gonna be honest with you, it's pretty much there. If you want to get started in Car Seat Headrest, you either listen to Teens of Style, or you listen to the album after this, Teens of Denial. Now, Teens of Denial was the album that put Will Toledo and his hot gamer boys into the map. This was the album that let them go on Fallon, let them go on Tiny Desk. I mean, this is the album that blew them up. It's honestly my second favorite album by them, and it's an interesting one. Usually Will likes to write his songs about himself and about his feelings. This album, he talks about society and how they perceive teenagers, and I think that's a really good idea for an album. I guess coming from a teenager, I just sort of understand it. And after this album was the point where everyone was wondering, okay, so they just released Teens of Style, they remade a whole bunch of songs that sound kick-ass, and then they just released Teens of Denial, alright? By this point, we already have bangers like Vincent, Drunk Drivers, Killer Whales, and Fill in the Blank. What could possibly be next? And Will Toledo pulls the rug from everyone, and he says, I'm gonna remake the entirety of Twin Fantasy. And you have to wonder to yourself, how does a man think, oh, I should recreate this entire album? Why would I recreate an entire album? I already explained to you all, wait, why do I need to explain this? I already explained to you all why he even recreates songs, okay? Now you're just gonna question why he's gonna recreate an entire ass album? We're talking about Car Seat Headrest here!
Shut the fuck up. God damn, nigga.
The point is that we have Twin Fantasy, which is my favorite Car Seat Headrest record, Twin Fantasy Face to Face, I mean. And it's honestly a really amazing record. Because not only do you have the amazing songwriting from before, you also have very clean production, very clean vocals that don't get drowned in a fucking sea of reverb. It doesn't sound like I'm walking into Mammoth Cave every single time I listen to this album. It doesn't sound like that, it sounds regular now. The songs just sound beautiful. Whenever I first heard Bodies, my ears were just cleansed. And then after this point, Will, during the pandemic, with his boys, released his Madlow, and I'm not even going to talk about Madlow because I hate Madlow. To be honest with you all, I really do not like Madlow. It's one of the worst albums by Car Seat Headrest. I really don't like the sounds, I don't care for the songwriting, and the only song I like on it is Hollywood, which is a song no one likes except for me, apparently. I already mentioned this before, but Will Toledo's songwriting is some of the best I've ever heard in my entire life. It's not the best. That right is reserved for Morrissey and the Smiths, which I'm not going to make a video anytime soon. I'm going to make that in the future because, oh my gosh, the thing that'd be so long. But Car Seat Headrest, Will Toledo's songwriting is just so personal. It's just beautiful in its own sense. Will Toledo just writes about himself. He writes about his emotions, his anxieties, his depression, his problems. And while I don't have any issues like he has, I just feel for him and I understand. I have this weird connection with him that I never really had with any other artist, other than like, maybe Robert Smith, maybe Mark Linkous, Stephen Morrissey, like I just mentioned before. Never really had that connection with any other artist, unlike Will Toledo. Considering the fact from the background he came from and how he just even got started, it makes him more and more inspirational for someone like me. It's something that I appreciate more and I just love. Like, a great song for me to point towards for his songwriting is the song Bodies. That hook gives me goosebumps every single time. I hear that hook in my head every single day.
That's not what I meant to say at all. I mean, I'm sick of eating, I just wanna hold you.
It doesn't matter if I'm listening to it on Mirror to Mirror or Face to Face, it still holds up. And that songwriting is just beautiful. And then that part where he tricks the audience and he's like, is it the chorus yet? No! It just throws you off and it makes you like, whoa, this is just a song that's not like any other. And then to that first chorus, don't you realize your body could fly? Oh my gosh, it's just great. And then whenever everything cuts down to that beautiful, like, just single guitar, and then Will Toledo talks about whatever, a part where Will Toledo talks about him and his partner moving their bodies around. And then whenever all the instruments come in, that is a spectacular, euphoric moment. I didn't do this in my Diva video, but I wish I did. But I want to talk about more Car Seat Headrest songs that I really like and I just love in particular. I mentioned it before, but It's Only Sex is one of my favorites. I just love how basic and how simple the groove is, and overall the lyrics are also just great. It's a song that can be interpreted in many different ways, and I appreciate that. It can either be about someone who's asexual trying to have sexual feelings for someone, or it could be someone who's gay who can't talk about them being gay. Pretty much just goes down to the point of the basic line, it's only sex. The song Something Soon is a song I find myself quoting a lot too. It probably has no internal meaning, it's just like lyrics put together that are just out of order, but something about it just makes it great. I mean, that chorus is just so good. Fill in the Blank is a song that I always think is interesting because it just talks about depression and teenagers. I mean, come on.
You have no right to be depressed. You haven't tried hard enough to like it. Haven't seen enough of this world yet, but it hurts.
Beach Life and Death, while being 13 minutes long, is also just an amazing soulful track that talks about Will Toledo having his long-distance relationship.
I don't want to go insane.
I want to end the video talking about the most essential Car Seat Headrest song. Every single band has an essential song. I already mentioned it. Whip It is Devo's song. And Car Seat Headrest's song, it has to be Drunk Driver's Killer Whales. This was the first song I ever heard by them, and it's just fantastic. I never say this in my entire life, and I've only said it like a few times. If there was one song that I wish I could write, it would be this one. Just the lyrics are just so good, and I just love the different tone shift in the middle of it. It starts out as this soft ballad with very simple synth and guitar, but then it turns into a full-on rock song in the middle of it, and it's just beautiful.
It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. Killer whales, killer whales.
Doesn't have to be like this. Killer whales, killer whales. Anyway, that is the end of this video. I'm happy with this. Hopefully this comes out. Hopefully you all enjoy it. Hopefully you all want to make me make more content. I'm planning on making Kobayashi, of course, but I'm going to be talking about the new Tyler, the Creator album soon. Maybe. I want to put my opinions on it. So hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching. I'm in my closet now. I have this haircut, and I'm doing whatever I even want. It's going to take me a lot longer to make videos since I'm now in school, but enjoy it. So thank you all for watching, and think about the two dogs kissing each other. Burning my clothes to keep from screaming. Taking pills to keep from dreaming. I want to break some